my goodness. Here we go. All right, now I'm gonna do the names now. We think. Welcome everybody. Well, you see Joe up there, and you see Rick, and you see Aaron. But now we're gonna say hi to Deborah Denenfield, Ruth Hazard, Dan Walker. Hello, Dan. And Mabel Leong, and Delhi. I don't know if have you been here before, or is this a new Delhi? Al Christians, Julie Alexander, Kim Bothan, Roselle Denenfield, Anne Strange, Mariana Holzer, hey Kevin Ennis, Sheila Ginsberg, Hindi, KB Galloway, hello KB, Janet Shepard, Karen Newman, Sue from California, or her last name may be California. Kathleen, well, now we have Kathleen Albuquerque, and Susan Shawn, and Carolina Quant. Hey, hello, Caroline, and many moons in D.C. All right, how do I scroll up from here, Joe? And you need to unmute.
Yep, you have to swipe your whole screen to the side. If you can't do it, I'll take over.
Oh, there it is. I see it. It just popped up. See, I usually use StreamYard, not Zoom. All right, here we go. Sarah Page from Texas, Bob Delaney, Steve Finner, Baltimore, and Lisa Eason. I like that has a good roll to it. Lisa Eason, and she's reminding you that she's a she/her designation. Trish Simpson, Anna Alter, also she/her. Arlene Baxter, Gary Pausner, Luda, might be killing it. Luda in Victoria, BC. Sandy Johnson, also in Canada. Canada's in the house. Linda Worcester, Barb in Virginia. Jamie Dundas, Storm. Storm, I have to introduce you to my friend Stream sometime. Kathy Schimberg, upstate New York. Ann Wright, Dennis Moore, Canada. Dennis Donnelly. Fred from Silver Spring. Fred, I always think of you as Tacoma Park. Betsy Fulford. Carol J. in Connecticut. Becky Kane. Siobhan Robinson. Notice I didn't screw up Siobhan. I got a buddy named Siobhan. Pam Soperdino. Jasper. Nancy Reege in Vermont. Bring me some maple syrup. Let's see. All right, we're scrolling along. Here we go. Carolyn Wolf. Tom in Victoria, BC. Nice background. Even if it's a fake background, it's a nice background. Alan, oh, there's my first one that got me. Alan, I'll give it as Haberly. Brian McLaughlin, Annette Perrone, Ray Rassi, could be a relative. LMG, Rosemary I in Maryland, or Rosemary I may be a doctor. You don't know. It just says MD. Bob iPhone. Oh, man, you should talk to Apple. They owe you for having that as a last name. Nancy N. Sandra Moore. Jane in Silver Spring. Bob has appeared again. Rosie F. Max. Susan Miller in Seattle. Carpe Diem Arts even popped up. Joni. Suzanne St. Ange. We'll give it a shot. Barbara Robeson. Barbara's iPad is there. Cool. I always like to say hello to machines. Adrian, Ruth E., Sarah Hardigan, and we're scrolling. There we go. Oh, Annette is back. Rose back. Let's see. Oh, there's one we haven't done. Whoop, hold still, everybody. Gwyn Fields, Amos Houseman Rogers. That's hyphen. Amos Houseman hyphen Rogers. Deborah Denenfield back in the house. Rosie F. Max. Susan Miller, Seattle. Carpe Diem again. Joni, where's all the new names?
I think you got everybody.
Well, I haven't said hi to Katie. Katie's in the house. She's got that look of like, Dave, don't mess up my last name. So I'll say Katie Abudu. Kate Cox, Vermont. Let's see. And that Kate's saying hi to everyone already. Harriet Dart. And she's a she/her. Tukey D. Let's see. I see if we got anything else. Nope. We got them all.
Give it up for David Eisner. That was pretty cool. 78
that was fun.
People. You got the big challenge today.
Yeah. How do I get out of this screen?
You push.
Yeah.
Well, you can leave it and talk to everybody if you want, or you can push speaker view.
Yeah, let's go speaker view. There we go. I need to be like a fly with all a million eyeballs to keep everybody at once. All right. Well, and let's say hi to Aaron, too. Hello, Aaron. Okay, so here we are. We're Rik and I met in the what we call the green room, which is the pre-concert, and we're saying, Rik, you've got all these songs. How are we going to pick one? And Rik says, it's going to be easy. I said, how is it going to be easy? What do you just come back to one song all the time? He said, no. You know what today is? I said, you're right. It's Arbor Day. And Rik said, well, that's yes. And he's got the song to support Arbor Day. So take it away, Rik.
Well, thank you, David. It's really a pleasure to be back here again and to share this special song on this special day. As we said, this is Arbor Day, a day for planting trees. And the song that I'm going to teach you is a song that I wrote, and it has a little story that I'll tell you that goes with it. And the story goes something like this. I wrote this song on my mother-in-law's 80th birthday. She wanted to do something special that day, so she took my wife, Mariana, and her sister, Heidi, and they went to a tree nursery, and they brought home a linden tree. Then we dug a big hole in our yard, and we planted that tree as a family. Later on in the day, we had a little party, and while all her friends were there, she said, while everyone's here today, I want to declare my wishes. When my time comes, what I want you to do is I want you to cremate me and then take my ashes and scatter them right here on this linden tree that we just planted. And every time you look outside, you'll see that old tree growing, and you'll think of me. And in a way, we can grow together. So that's how I was inspired to write the song. And today, of course, there's terrible news in Israel with so many people dying in this unfortunate accident where people were trampled. There's so much sadness out there in some ways, and planting trees is a good way that we can remember all of those people. During COVID-19, there's been so many friends that have passed away. And, on Arbor Day, they say one of the best things to do is to do exactly that, is to plant a tree in memory of a dear loved one. So I'm going to teach you this song so that you can plant your tree and have your own tree memorial, and you can sing the song while you do that. When I wrote the song, I had no idea that was exactly what was going to happen, but that's what people do. They use this song in family ceremonies. So I'm just going to go through the chorus. Plant a tree, plant a tree, plant a tree, and think of me. I'll be standing by your side. Plant a tree, I'll never die. We can try that together. Plant a tree, plant a tree, plant a tree, and think of me. I'll be standing by your side. Plant a tree, I'll never die. Got it? When it's time to leave this earth, give my ashes to the dirt. Dig a hole on a mountainside and plant a tree with me inside. Plant a tree, plant a tree, plant a tree, and think of me. I'll be standing by your side. Plant a tree, I'll never die. Shower me with sun and rain till my roots start to grow again. You won't miss me when I'm gone, no, I'll be with you all year long. I'll be there in the winter, I'll be there in the spring, from the first snowfall till the robins sing, through the hazy days of summer until the last leaf falls. I'll keep on growing true and tall. Plant a tree, plant a tree, plant a tree, and think of me. I'll be standing by your side. Plant a tree, I'll never die. When your children sing and play, let them through my branches sway. Jump and roll in autumn's leaves, carve their names for all to see. Plant a tree, plant a tree, plant a tree, and think of me. I'll be standing by your side. Plant a tree, I'll never die. Years will come and the years will go till I'm so old I cannot grow. Then chop me up for wood to burn, but save a seed so I may return. Plant a tree, plant a tree, plant a tree, and think of me. I'll be standing by your side, and we'll keep reaching for the sky.
Well, that was certainly the appropriate song, as we say in the biz. You nailed it. So, pretty amazing. How old is that song? When did you?
Well, I wrote it, I guess it was, 1990 something, when my mother-in-law was still living. And I got inspired for the song. I was thinking about that little kind of party that we had for her. And I was sailing on the sloop Clearwater. It was the pumpkin sail, I think, when the idea came into my mind. And of course, we're almost getting ready to celebrate Pete Seeger's what would have been his birthday. Yeah. So one of the finest memories I have of singing that song was when Pete and I sang it together at his house. And I think so much these days about so many wonderful mentors, so many friends that have come and gone. And I think it's so important that we all remember these people. Some of them are famous, of course, and some of them are not famous. There's a lot of people during this, the COVID, a lot of musicians have passed away, and we miss them. We miss them. I mean, Ann Feeney, great friend of mine, was gone, and of course Gene Shea. Just so many people. And I think that, it's always a good thing, to have a place in your yard, to have a tree. We have, my mother-in-law's ashes are buried here in the yard. And also Al Grierson, my old pal. And Al, when he passed away, he gave they gave his ashes to everybody at the Folk Alliance. I don't know if you remember that, David. That was quite something.
Heard about it, yeah.
Everybody had a little pack of Al's ashes, and we were coming through Canada through customs.
Right,
These little vials of ashes.
yeah, and you gonna smoke that there, son? Yeah.
Oh gosh. So I think that's one of the things that, I don't know about you, David. It's like how many kinds of different rituals do you participate in a year where music actually comes into play?
Well, one of my jobs when I'm not running all my other stuff, I work as a live sound engineer. And a few years ago, I did some work in a synagogue, and they really liked the work. So apparently my name got passed around like party favors. So I do a lot of, they're basically in Judaism, there's Orthodox, Conservative, Reform, and then my type of Judaism, which I would call Reform Light. Basically I was brought up very lightly Jewish, but now I'm getting this tremendous education by doing sound for all the high holidays in the synagogues. And I've even been invited to Presbyterian churches to help their sound. So it's kind of an interesting way of learning about rituals. It's been pretty interesting. Celebrating some. There's a few Jewish holidays that are actually happy ones, and those are, of course, my favorites because they get to drink a lot and kind of screw around during the service. So it's been pretty darn educating. And then I'm oftentimes working with musicians that are brought in because it's a high holiday. So it's a great, it's so during the high holidays or during, any calendar year, I may be in maybe 10 or 12 synagogues during a period. And it's, it's pretty enlightening in a lot of ways.
Well, I think that's, what folk music to me, for a long time when I was a young kid, I thought folk music was really about, going to concerts and seeing,
Right.
And seeing the big stars and stuff like that. And then I lived in Poland back in 1984 in a traditional folk community. And I really started to see that it really is much more about the needs of the community. So, there's work songs and all different types of love songs. And I can remember the time that it really kind of dawned on me that this is different than what I thought it was.
Sure.
Was that I was in Poland, and they said, the old woman of the house said, "Oh, it's time to eat. Here's the axe. Go kill the goose."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I don't know anything about killing this goose." And of course, she just nips off the head, and we're sitting there and we're picking the feathers off of the goose. We're sitting there together, and I'm pulling the feathers, and I'm going, "One sunny morning, Lord, Lord, Lord," and Leadbelly's song about the gray goose came to life.
Sure.
And I started seeing all of these different songs actually, really have a lot more meaning. There was one time we had a big party, David. It was really cool. It was a work party, right?
I was going to say work songs.
And everybody, we were stuffing goose feathers into pillows, right? So there was all these women there's like goose feathers almost up to their chin. And we're told as musicians we couldn't do anything lively or anything that would make any kind of commotion because all of these feathers. So we're up there, and I'm just playing the banjo along with these traditional Polish fiddlers, and we're just playing along, and I'm going, this is boring. It's like, what are we doing here? And then all of a sudden we're done, and the band kicks up and the feathers go flying into the air, and everybody grabs a partner and they start dancing around the room. And I said, "Oh, this is what it's about."
Yeah.
This is what it's about.
There's no separation from lifestyle and song and dance. That's what it's all incorporated. And,
It is.
You're right. As we were growing up, you heard about a concert and how much was it, and could you get a ticket, and you went and you sat in your seat and you were entertained, which is a different way than the Polish community was experiencing music.
And I think that the more that you travel around the world, you find it in every community. They all, have different rituals and things that make that particular community special. And one of the cool things about it, David, is that you might know that if you're a musician and you're from another town, you better not sing the wrong version. Because you'll hear about it. You say, you want to sing that song like that, you go over to this village over here. So it's been a really enlightening path that I had. And I wanted to mention just the fact that, my book, Banjo Man, Adventures of an American Folk Singer, has come out during this pandemic. It's been a crazy time to do it, but it's filled with all kinds of stories.
Where can we get that book, Rik?
Right at my website at rikpalieri.com. And so, and the information is there.
Aaron has already put it in the chat.
I decided not to go the Amazon route, David. It was a hard choice. But, I wanted it to be something that was like an old-fashioned kind of thing where I sign a card, have a little card that goes with it. My wife is a hand bookbinder, so we put in a leather bookmark in there, and it's a personal experience like you don't get from Amazon. But so it's been a really interesting time, I think, for all of us during the pandemic, and it's because of the Daily Antidote of Song that many of us have been able to actually get through this time. Does
the book have some songs in it that people can learn, or is it
pretty
much all stories?
No. There's all kinds of there's all kinds of songs in here, and there's 530 pages of my life in here. A lot of stories with Pete Seeger and Utah Phillips and Jimmy Driftwood. You remember old Jimmy? Old Jimmy Driftwood and so many other, Kevin Locke. And one of the things I started...
Kevin Locke is the great Native American flute player.
Yeah, that's...
I'll give you a story about his.
That's where I learned how to play flute, was from Kevin. And, and he asked me to sit through a sweat lodge ceremony together with him before we would learn the flute, so he could explain the importance of what we were doing. Well, tell me your story, David.
Well, real quickly, we had him in concert through IMT, and he said, as a matter of fact, I have a couple other performances in the area, and I'm going to be traveling with my son, and can you do the sound for me and also maybe take me to these shows? I said, oh, of course, it'll be great. So we got into my, at the time, 1982 Isuzu diesel pickup truck, which barely seats 3 adults, but it does. And then he said, listen, I need to learn this drum tape. I had a cassette player, and for 3 days, I listened to the same Indian drum tape, the cassette playing, with his 16-year-old son sitting, we were cramped in, no air conditioning in the truck, and it was an amazing, it was my own personal sweat lodge with him, basically. Listening to that. And he's also an amazing hoop dancer.
Oh, yeah.
He can do 36 hoops at a time. I mean, think for a minute last time he tried to do a hula hoop and how that is. Now imagine doing 36 hoops at the same time. And I asked him also about the tuning on his flutes, and he brings about 12 flutes with him. And I said, well, how do you move the little, as it's called, the little fetish on the flute? How do you move it forward? How do you decide? And he says, I just wait for the morning and see what it feels like. And he alters it ever so slightly. So again, he's living the music, not just, hi, I'm your Native American flute player. When do I go on? He's...
Well, the thing that Kevin was one of those people that really went and learned from the old players. Yeah. He went around and he learned all of those songs to make sure that they were remembered. And the advice that he gave me, and I'd like to pass it on to anyone else who's playing a flute, is these songs are not our songs. They're from the Native American culture. And so to show respect, not to try to play traditional songs, but instead to create your own songs based on the technique and style of the Native American flute.
Yeah, it's a vessel, basically.
Yeah,
You
and
fill it up. Yeah.
and it plays such beautiful music, and it's a great instrument for people. This one here was one of the hybrid kind of things, because it's not like a Native American flute, because it's a drone flute, so it's like a new age kind of flute.
Or bagpipes. You didn't have your Polish bagpipes with you, so you pull out your
Right.
flute.
Oh yeah, well the Polish bagpipes, that's a whole nother thing. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we were talking about earlier. Is like I would be with my teacher Yusuf Broda in Poland, and sometimes the bagpipes would give you a terrible time because of the weather and the cane flutes and the cane reeds, excuse me. And I say, well, what do you do now? He says, you don't play them. Don't force it. Don't try to force it. Really let the instrument dictate to you what it wants to do. And if it doesn't want to play,
we have time. I'm asking Joe as well for a little bit of flute, just so people could hear this, because that flute's pretty amazing.
yeah, this is it was made by Island Ray in Florida, and it was gifted to me by Island Ray, and it's wood that came down in the hurricane. And so it has I think a really nice kind of feel to it. So you have the two sounds. You have the that's the double sound. So you get that drone in there. And then you could just play one.
Yeah, it's an amazing sound, and it's your song that you're
Yeah,
doing.
I was just making it up for you.
Sure. This is great.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. Well, we're having fun together. I was just playing a couple of notes, but thinking about the technique that Kevin showed me. He showed me, and you could hear the how I'm using my breath to make that kind of a sound. And that's a cool thing about this music, is that it is so accessible to all of us. I mean, you think about other types of music. I remember when I was a young kid, I went to my first concert. Well, it wasn't my first one. It was my first folk festival, and there was Elizabeth Cotton. You remember her?
Left-handed.
Oh, and
Left-handed.
and
Great train.
she played there, and I was all excited. And here I am, like I think I must have been like
12.
17 years older. My hair was really, really long, and I come back and I wanted to say something to her. Now, she was probably almost in her 90s at that point, 80s or something.
Yeah.
What did she have in common with me, David? But what she did, she looked at me, and she knew that I wanted to spend some time. She said, "Are you hungry?"
No, man.
I said, well, what do you mean hungry? She said, "I have this bag of oranges. I was going to sit down and eat them. Would you like to join me?" And she put out this Afghan blanket, and she sat there, and she was peeling those oranges. She was handing me a slice, and she'd say, "Now, doesn't that taste good?" And it was like, you can't really think about other types of styles of music where these wonderful mentors were so accessible,
Right.
for so long. I'm sure you have a lot of stories like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. That's a good story about them. So, Joe, you sent me a message, but it was blocked out by the gallery view, so I'm not sure what the message was. It said, David. Yeah, so what is it? Just let us all know.
Hi, everybody. Rik, that was the most beautiful story. And actually, all of these stories have been beautiful. And there's so much in the chat. It's like one of those days where the chat is an encyclopedia unto itself. So I'm definitely going to suggest everybody check that out. I was going to call some things out on it, but there's too much in there to pick. But we have had Kevin Locke in this room with us 3 times. We've heard his flute. We've not seen his hoop dancing in this room, but we have had Clayson Benally from the Dene Nation in the room hoop dancing. So it's been a really, really amazing journey to be able to have the hoop dancing and the fluting, then with Kevin and then now Rik on the flute. And I'm really loving all these ties. So David, I was going to say that we have 2 things we need to announce because there are 2 things happening tonight. And one of them I will announce, and then you can announce the second one. So the first one is that tonight's cocktail party, to which everyone in this room is invited and everyone out there on Facebook Live is also invited, is going to be at 7 p.m., defined by the fact that there is an event at 8 p.m. that we can all leave our room and then go attend. So please join us tonight at 7 p.m. right here. I'm going to send out an email. The link will be right here to our same regular room. And I'm going to send out some prompts. So come prepared to unmute yourself and join in the fun and share something about yourself, because part of the point of this is that we all are going to get to know each other a little bit better and not just have to listen to me and David and Rik. So thank you so much, David, and thank you so much, Rik. That was absolutely beautiful. Rik, David, can you say something quickly about the show tonight?
Yes.
And then we'll sing again before we leave.
Yeah, the show tonight conveniently set up so that if you do your cocktail at 7 and you still awake and still bright-eyed, at 8 o'clock we're having, and you go to imtfolk.org. Aaron's all over that, I'm sure. We have a female singer-songwriter from California, Abby Posner. We have a male singer-songwriter from, I think he's might be on the East Coast. I actually forget where he's from, Jenner Fox. And then we have a combination of a male and female, a duo called the Black Feathers, and they will be awake. They promise us they'll be awake because they're going to be in England performing. So for them, it'll be about between 1 and 2 in the morning their time. They're probably already celebrating May Day over there. So the Black Feathers. So it's going to be a quite a neat show, in that each artist will do about 3 cuts, and then we'll come back for an encore with each artist. But because the Black Feathers are already in the middle of the night, we'll probably run them first. But tune in at 8 o'clock, and however they battle it out will be the way to do it. So it's, again, it's an IMT show. It's a free show, and if you like what you hear, and we hope you will, please donate directly to the artists. This is the time when these shows are replacing the live shows and the touring and the high guarantees, the well-deserved funds. So now it's, whatever we can get. So don't be late on your mortgage, or not pay a utility bill. But if you've got a little extra and you can send it to the artists, please do.
Thank you, David. Thank you. So hope we'll see you all in this room at 7 p.m. and then we can all transfer over to David's party. So a couple quick notes. Just want to say that I learned from the chat just now that it's Caroline's birthday. Can we all please shout out Caroline, who's been in this room with us, I'm pretty sure since about the first month that we started, if not the first day. So Caroline, thank you so much. Happy birthday to you. And I think we'll probably actually have one of those like full house unmutes where we all sing to her at the cocktail party. So that's just on its own something to come to. And I also want to shout out New Delhi, who is like so thoroughly, it was a very good joke, David. Delhi is the one person in this room besides me who has actually been in attendance every single day. And that's a lot of days. And,
imagine
and
my
she's
embarrassment.
It's actually kind of one day more than me because I kind of had to leave like really early on one of them. So Delhi, you are amazing. Thank you for being here. Community, you are all amazing. Thank you for being here. And David, I'm going to turn it over to you for that great last line that we love to say.
Well, okay, folks, that's it. That's the show for today. If it were Saturday night, we'd say Saturday Night Live, but it isn't. So instead, we're going to say, hey, Rik, do you want to give us the chorus so we can all sing out together?
Sure.
Cool.
So plant a tree, plant a tree, plant a tree, and think of me. I'll be standing by your side. Plant a tree, I'll never die. As Pete would say, let's sing it again. Plant a tree, plant a tree, plant a tree, and think of me. I'll be standing by your side, and we'll keep reaching for the sky.
Woo! Rik Palieri, thank you so much for bringing us a beautiful song today. And thank you so much to the person who's just joining the room. Thank you so much, Rik, for great music. Let's all give it up for Rik Palieri. And I am going to actually shout out one thing in the chat, which was the very good point that we're not actually supposed to plant our trees right now because of the locusts. You're supposed to hold off until the locusts are gone. So in absentia of being able to plant a tree today, and the big one, in absentia of being able to actually hug people, right? How much is everybody missing hugging people? So today, I have just renamed it is Hug a Tree Day. So everybody, seriously, and I'm not kidding, let's all go hug a tree, and then someday we'll hug each other, and someday we'll plant our trees. Thank you again, Rik Palieri. Thank you again, David Eisner, Carpe Diem Arts, Institute of Musical Traditions, Aaron Geyer on the tech. And I can't wait to see all of you at 7 p.m. tonight right here in this room. Thank you so much, Facebook Live, for being with us, and hope you can join us too in the room. You can go to carpediemarts.org to get the link for joining us in this room. Thank you.